Hello, 6th level. Hope you had a great weekend and are ready for another week of online learning, although we are coming really close to the end. Little bit of a break this week from any sort of a different or really strange concept. This is review, and the concept is pretty simple. This week, we don't have to worry about balloons and weights, or vertical number lines, and we can just focus on some basics. The work you did in 1.6, chapter 1.6, was about adding and subtracting positive and negative numbers, integers. Chapter 1.7 is multiplying and dividing positive, negative numbers or integers. The nice part is multiplying and dividing, you do it as normal. The computation is absolutely the same as you've been doing for years. So there's nothing new. The little change is when we add a negative number into the mix, because multiplying and dividing positive numbers, you've been doing that since you learned to divide. If the computation is the same, then the only thing that we need to focus on in this short lesson is what to do with negatives. Well, lucky for you, I have a chart that makes it really, really simple. And you will also find this chart attached to part of some work that is on the Google Classroom, one of the required works. But I'll give you a preview and show it to you right now. In this lovely, handy-dandy, color-coordinated display here, you will see the rules for multiplying and dividing integers. If we take a look at multiplying integers, a positive times a positive is equal to a positive. You've been doing that since preschool. I don't know. But a positive times a negative is equal to a negative. And you can see the example for that. A negative times a positive is a negative. And a negative times a negative is a positive. Basically, if the signs are alike, positive, positive, the answer is positive. Negative, negative, the answer is positive. If the signs in the problem are alike, the answer is going to be positive. If the signs are different, positive, negative, or negative, positive, if the signs are different, the answer is always negative. If you remember this little bit, and dividing, it's exactly the same. All I did is change the symbol and the problems, but the color scheme and the rules are the same. If the numbers you're working with have the same sign, your answer will be positive. You're still going to multiply 7 times 3 or 7 times 3. 7 times 3 is 21. But if the signs are the same, the answer is positive. If the signs are different, the answer is negative. Now, how to multiply and divide? I'm going to guess that you already know that, and I am not going to go further with that bit of instruction. Feel free to write this down if you think it's helpful. Perhaps you already know it, you already have this memorized, and that's fine. If you want to see your own copy, then go to Google Classroom, go to This Week, and under the work to do, there is this, along with some practice work below the pretty colors that you see here. Please turn to chapter 1.7 on page 42. You're going to be reading pages 42 and 43, and it's going to tell you the same thing, just in a little bit of a different way. And it's great to get this information explained in more than one way, because they use some different wording, it just helps. Now, on the bottom of page 43, there is a checkpoint. You will see there are problems 1 through 8. Now, I want you to look at this. You're going to see the answers, and that's not a big deal because the math itself is not a big issue. But let's just take a look at it. For number 1, we have 9 times negative 11. Hopefully you remember that a number next to a number in parentheses means multiplication. It doesn't have the dot meaning multiplication. It doesn't have the X meaning multiplication. This is another way to see multiplication. So I'm not worried about that negative. I'm going to look at 9 times 11. 9 times 11 is 99. It's a positive times a negative. The signs are different. According to that colorful chart, my answer is going to be negative. Here I have negative 6 times negative 8. I'm not going to worry about the negatives. I'm going to look at 6 times 8. 6 times 8 is 48. But I have a negative times a negative. The signs are alike, so my answer is positive. I really don't know why they have number 3 as an example. 0 times negative 100. Well, anything times 0 is 0. So we're not going to get fooled by the fact that technically it's a positive number times a negative number. There is no such thing as negative 0. 0 is 0. 0 is the smallest positive number that we can have. Number 4, negative 4 times negative 8. Well, 4 times 8 is what we want to multiply. 4 times 8 is 32. It's a negative times a negative. The signs are the same, so my answer is positive. Number 5, division. Negative 24 divided by 3. Forget about the positives and negatives. Let's calculate 24 divided by 3. 24 divided by 3 is 8. It's a negative divided by a positive. The signs are different. So my answer is going to be a negative answer. Don't forget to add your negative. 0 divided by negative 25. Well, 0 divided by anything is 0. Once again, we're not going to get tripped up or confused by the fact that we have a positive divided by a negative. 0 is just 0. 0 is always 0. 0, 0. 6 is 0. Number 7, negative 35 divided by negative 7. Mathematically, we're just doing 35 divided by 7. If you know your math facts, you'll know 35 divided by 7 is 5. Now I want to look at my signs. It's a negative divided by a negative. The signs are alike, so my answer is positive. And the last one, 24 divided by negative 6. Mathematically, I'm just going to look at 24 divided by 6. 24 divided by 6 is 4. Positive divided by a negative. The signs are different. My answer is going to be negative. Put a negative in front of that 4. That's about all there is to it. I can't really make it trickier than that. So, for your assignment, starting on page 44, going through page 46, you are going to look at 1 through 51, the odd problems. And if you have questions with it, make sure that you've watched this video. If you haven't watched this video, you won't get this message to watch the video. But assuming that you are watching the video, then you know that you're supposed to watch the video because I just told you, but you've already done it, so you can kind of cross that off your list. And now you can make sure that you take a look at any notes that you may have taken to help you through the work. And if you have questions, shoot Fran or I a message, and we'll get back to you very quickly. Also, please remember, join in a math Zoom meeting on Thursday or Tuesday and ask your questions. There is some quiz work on Google Classroom. There are some required and some fun-looking choice work. So take a look at that. That is all due on Friday. So have a good week. Enjoy this little bit of a break with anything really wild and new. And we'll see you soon. Thanks. Bye, guys.